early morning, let's explore the 31st quatrain of Heart Treasure of the Enlightened Ones. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi. This is the Lama you are looking for. This morning, we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two. But first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as transformatively as Obi-Wan Kenobi upon the toasty sands of Tatooine, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. If at any point during this morning's live stream you have a question about meditation or philosophy or even chanting, there's no need to be shy. Simply type your question in the chat window on the right-hand side of your screen. And when you do so, please be as detailed as possible. Whoops. The mind cannot cope with all the many visualization practices. To meditate on one sukata is to meditate on them all. Don't make the mistake that I did. In my youth, I thought if something is more difficult, it must be more beneficial. But here we're taught at the end of his life, the great Tibetan saint Zalpa Rinpoche was all about egalitarianism and making the path as easy and as swift and as efficient as possible. He's not the first Tibetan to try to do this, or the first spiritual teacher to try to do this. Centuries prior, the Bengali prince turned monk, Srijana Dipankara, known as Atisha in Tibet, explained that you only need one yadam and one mantra. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Let's continue. Whatever we feel sensations are as non-graspable as the form of light of the Buddha. And so, you've often heard me explain that there are two paths, the path of yang and the path of yin. The path of being rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, competitive, and cruel, or the path of being flexible, loving, laid-back, egalitarian, cooperative, and kind. Many people on the path of rigidity have difficulty discerning the literal from the figurative, and misunderstand the tantric instructions. They interpret the phrase, such a phrase as see all bodies as the yadam. And they take that literally and go through life undermining their mindfulness and trying to tell their brain that they're seeing something that they're really not seeing. However, from a figurative point of view, seeing all bodies as Buddhas can be taken as figurative. Seen through the lens of conventional bodhicitta, we can wish that all bodies of all beings be as healthy as a Buddha's archetype or yidam we see depicted in tantric art. And seen through the lens of ultimate bodhicitta, we can explore how, although bodies are sensual when we breathe in, as we relax into our exhalation, all bodies, even our own, can feel as if they were as non-graspable as a real or imagined enlightened archetype or yidam comprised only of light. So, which you feel is in greater harmony with the Buddha's teachings? undermining our mindfulness and contriving a visualization, are using the present moment and using tantric metaphors to train in love and letting go. Let's continue. In the realm of the octave's body, sensual yet is non-graspable as an vast empty void recite the 12-syllable mantra. Before we move on to this morning's formal practice and begin our chanting, I'd like to subject you to a minute of housekeeping. Every 12 hours, I broadcast a live meditation class without any ads. With your help, this channel could come to support the next generation of nuns, monks, yogis, lamas, and even brick-and-mortar meditation centers, each replete with a resident teacher and their apprentice. If this speaks to you, if it sounds like a good idea, you're welcome to help out even for as little as the cost of 1 cup of coffee a month. Simply use your smartphone's camera to capture this QR code, or simply click one of the donation links in the description area below the video. We're going to begin our journey of right view and right aspiration with the preparatory practices. Let us begin with the inner preparatory practices of training in empathy and enthusiasm by chanting the recitations of bodhicitta and refuge. Excuse me. Let's chant. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hate and craving and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hate and craving and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hate and craving and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. Now it's time for a bit of the old mantra meditation. Let us begin by reviewing the mantra's meaning. Please chant with me. With whom we invoke the example of the Muni Wise One, Muni Wise One. Maha greatly wise one, Muni, yea, of the Shaka Soha, wishing enlightenment for all. What is known in Sanskrit as Shakyamuni, and let me check something real quick. Please bear with me. The screen's going nuts, so we'll deal with it momentarily. Bear with me, just looking up a vocabulary word. There we go. One moment. Let's go back over here. All right, let's try that again. Sanskrit Shakyamuni is known in Tibet as Sangye, and English as Sage of the Shakya clan. Whether real or imagined, the iconography of this archetype of enlightenment, or yidam, functions to organize the 8 figures of speech necessary for deeply transformative mantra contemplation. If you've just joined me, when you have a question about meditation or philosophy, simply type it in great detail in the chat window. Let's continue. We turn our attention now to love and letting go. Beginning with love's right wishes, which help us to leapfrog over our competitive tendencies. So what we're going to do is this. To really make the most out of mantra contemplation, during our in-breath, we're going to silently and mentally recite a compassionate or a loving intention. And during our exhalation, while we are chanting this 12-syllable mantra, we're going to do our best to physically relax. Now, this concise intention is rather cryptic. So to make sense of it, we're going to chant its more elaborate version now. May all minds of all beings know be as peacefully wise as our Buddha's mind, symbolized by a one-syllable mantra known as a Zero Bija mantra. Muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. O muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. O muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. O muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. Let's shift gears from the mental to the interpersonal. May all relationships of all beings know be as joyfully loving as were Buddha's communications symbolized by a 12-syllable mantra. O muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. O muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesoha. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesoha. And now we shift gears to the physical. May all bodies of all beings know which are the beautiful, healthy, depicted in Buddhist art of the blissful body of a Yidam of Lord knocked above enlightenment. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesoha. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesoha. Muni Muni Maha Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Maha Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Maha Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Maha Muni Yesoha. Muni Muni Maha Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Maha Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Maha Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Maha Muni Yesoha. And now let us switch gears to the circumstantial. May all circumstances of all beings be as safe and fortunate as a Buddha's paradise, spirit and all body of Lord. Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesoha. Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesoha. Muni Muni Maha Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Maha Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Maha Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Maha Muni Yesoha. Muni Muni Maha Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Maha Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Maha Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Maha Muni Yesoha. Excuse me. Let's switch gears now from love to letting go, that we might better leapfrog over our clinging tendencies. How is it that as we inhale all circumstances could appear quite vividly, yet as we relax into our exhalation they could feel as non-graspable as a cloudless sky or a body of light? Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesoha. Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesoha. Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesawa Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesoha. Muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. How is it that as we inhale all bodies could feel quite sensual, yet as we relax into our exhalation they could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void or a yidam of light? O muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. O muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. O muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. O muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. How is it that as we inhale the interpersonal experience of communication could be quite resounding, yet as we relax into our exhalation it could feel as non-graspable as a cloudless sky or a mantra of light? O muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. O muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. O muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. O muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. O muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. O muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. O muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. O muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuha. How is it that as we inhale we could perceive? How is it that as we inhale we could perceive our mind's functions quite clearly, yet as we relax into our exhalation they could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void or a bija of light? Muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa. Muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa muni muni ma muni yesuwa. Muni muni mahamuni yesuwa muni muni mahamuni yesuwa muni muni mahamuni yesuwa muni muni mahamuni yesuwa. Muni muni mamuni yesuwa muni muni mamuni yesuwa muni muni mamuni yesuwa muni muni mamuni yesuwa. Welcome to this morning's live stream. We've just finished with mantra meditation, and now we're turning towards silent contemplation. We're going to play with 4 silent contemplations where we explore the dance of impermanence and interdependence. We're going to begin with the circumstantial. We're going to use the verb melt as a metaphor of impermanence to help us to leapfrog over our clinging tendencies. And we're going to use the inference of absorption as a metaphor of interdependence to help us to leapfrog over our competitive tendencies. During our in-breath, during each in-breath, let us silently and mentally recite, all lots melt. And during our exhalation, let's silently and mentally recite, into form. Now, please don't waste your time actively visualizing or reasoning or forcing yourself to emote. If all you do is silently and mentally recite these words in harmony with your inhalation and your exhalation and your relaxation, you will make progress on the path. Let's switch gears from the circumstantial to the physical. We now switch gears to the interpersonal. And conclude with the mental. We shift gears now. We explore our first of 2 silent meditations, that of bliss and letting go. During our inhalation, we're going to allow ourselves to feel the play of sensation, and during the exhalation, we're going to relax into sensations' non-graspable nature. How are we going to do that? During each inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite seed, moom, bliss. And for doing so, during each inhalation, we automatically access our sympathetic nervous system, which is already wired by evolution for sensory acuity, to allow us to notice things vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. What then are we to do with all that which we notice? During each exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite, relaxing. Which accesses our parasympathetic nervous system, which is already wired for both physical relaxation and mental release. So let's sit up tall. Let's lay our hands in our lap, palms up. So this is not concentration. This is the overlap in Venn diagram between meditation and contemplation. So even though we are silently and mentally reciting seed, moon, bliss as we breathe in, we don't resist the wandering of our perceptions. Because whatever we notice, we're still going to do the exact same thing during the out breath, which is physically relax. let us silently contemplate love. Let us seal our practice with 4 sets of chants, beginning with Mastery of the Eightfold Path. May all beings like the Buddha master the Eightfold Path as well as liberate others. Let's now contemplate ethics. May all beings practice of kind communication, conduct, and calmness for spontaneous and uncontrived. Let us now contemplate impermanence. May each being take auspicious rebirth, master the Buddha's path, and then help all others do likewise. And conclude with the 4 immeasurables. May everyone be free from stress, may everyone be happy. May no one be separated from the happiness. May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging freed. If you feel I have earned it, type something in the chat window, give this live stream a thumbs up, and share it on social media. I would very much like to return in about 3¼ hours for today's mid-morning meditation. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.